Okay, going to jump straight into this review. Today we're looking at this A400 M.2 SSD from Kingston. This is a 240GB version. They also do a 120GB version, and they also do some 2.5-inch versions as well. It says on the box it runs up to 10 times faster, 240GB and so forth. Obviously that 10 times faster is then a hard drive. This specific drive is sold online roughly around about £28, which is around about $30. It's not a huge amount of information on the box itself. It's got a cut-through window so you can see it, but I'm not sure why, because you can't actually physically see the drive. So they must be reusing that from another device. According to Kingston, you can get 500MB read out of this and 450MB write speed. I'll tell you about the usual oomph about it. It's more reliable and durable than a standard hard drive and so forth, but only time will tell. So let's open this up and have a look exactly what's inside the box. So in basics, you've got a piece of plastic or two pieces of plastic, and then the SSD's inside. There's nothing else in there, no discs, no paperwork, so you just get the SSD itself and that is it. A400 is classed as a consumer grade product, so not a business, so this is aimed at a home user. From what I can tell, there is no software included with this. There doesn't seem to be any links to any on their website. The only ones I can see is if you get HyperX models of SSDs, then they do include a Cronus True Image. But before we do testing, here's a quick word from our sponsors. Okay, first of all, let's run through the test system setup. We used our standard machine we usually use for all our testing for things like this. It's basically a Thermaltake level 20 MT case with a Gigabyte B360 Aorus motherboard. It's also got a Gigabyte Aorus 1060 6GB graphics card, 16GB of DDR4 3000MHz Viper memory. All SSDs were tested as slave drives. Our main drive was a Western Digital Black M.2 SSD. All SSDs tested have been run as slave, so basically they did not have Windows installed on them or anything like that. They just had a basic format. All SSDs also were tested in a M.2 to PCI Express adapter provided by ICASA. That way we got an even test result across the board, no matter if there's been any updates for Windows and motherboards and so forth. No heat sinks were used on the M.2 drives, but I would advise it on some, especially the ones that get hot, which are generally the faster ones like the top-end Samsung 970s and so forth. And while testing, all case fans were disabled, so the fans would not blow over the SSD and affect the temperature results. Okay, so let's have a look at these test results. You can see quite a few other drives we've tested here in the past and some for future reviews. As you can see, the Kingston there actually got a read speed of 552MB per second on Crystal Mark, which is actually pretty good considering it's only rated at 500. But it's still a lot slower than a lot of M.2s out there. Okay, so we basically run the same program again, Crystal Mark, and had a look at the write speeds. It got 492MB, which again is higher than it was rated at. But if you think about it, the speeds aren't that much faster than some 2.5-inch drives out there, and actually our Samsung 850 EVO actually beat it in the test results. So here we've tested it again using Atto, using the read speed this time, and we've only got 532MB. It's still faster than what they quoted, but in comparison to a lot of M.2 drives on the market, it is actually pretty slow and about the same speed as a normal 2.5-inch SSD. We did an Atto test again, this time for the write speed, and on here the write speed we managed to get 512MB per second, which is roughly around about 50MB per second faster than they quote, but again it is still pretty slow compared to a lot of other M.2s on the market. so we tested the temperatures and to see obviously how hot it was getting. It didn't get that hot, we roughly ran at 39 degrees Celsius. That was towards the lower end of the scales in most SSDs we've tested in the M.2 format, but bear in mind it is one of the slower ones, so presumably it's not going to get hot anyway. The Kingston A400 SSD, or specifically this M.2 one, is probably one of the cheapest SSDs on the market. But saying that, you're getting what you pay for. There's no real performance benefit on the M.2 socket compared to the 2.5-inch socket. So unless you're short of space or you're wanting a compact design, you might as well just go for the 2.5-inch version of it and then plug your SATA leads into it and so forth. So the question is, would I buy it? Would I even sell it? And the answer is, hell no, I would not, because there is no benefit from the 2.5-inch. And if you've got a motherboard what does support an M.2 SSD, just spend £3 or £4 more or dollars and actually get one what runs at least twice as fast, and then you're getting your money's worth. Thanks for watching this video all the way to the end. Don't forget to press the subscribe button over here. That way you'll get all the latest news and all the reviews we do on a weekly basis. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.